What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Powerhouse Mentality Podcast. I'm your host, I am Caitlin Kenna, and we are back. Guys, I know I say that a lot, but over the last 2 months, I had a lot of life changes kind of happen. We'll get into that a little bit in this episode, but the biggest thing that I wanted to fill you guys in on is we are no longer in North Carolina, we being me and Stone. We are now in Crestview, Florida. Right outside of Destin on the Panhandle below Alabama, because nobody knows where Crestview is when I tell them that. We made the move over the last month, but it happened in like a 3-day span, maybe less. But we'll get into that. The biggest thing that I want to tell you guys about this episode is that you're going to learn a little bit about what I have learned about myself over the last couple months. When times are hectic, when your routine is completely out of whack, who do you show up as? And, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I recorded this episode maybe 5 minutes ago, and it was about a 20-minute episode where I was just talking about the lesson that I'm going to talk about in a couple minutes here, and giving you a little bit of background on, the last 2 months of our life. And the episode got deleted, so I'm a little bit spicy about it, but that's okay because everything happens for a reason. And maybe that episode wasn't a good reflection and wasn't my best episode. So this one's going to be better. We're going to record it. We're going to save it properly. And we're not going to let this computer fail me. I got a new mic. So maybe that's the issue. But either way, I freaked out about it at first. Not going to lie to you. But now we're figuring it out. We're re-recording because this episode, I'm confident, is going to be much better for you guys. So where do we begin? It is now, as I'm recording this, it is June 23rd. It's a Thursday. It's actually 12:38 to be exact in the afternoon. And I'm officially on Central Time now, so I'm not Eastern Time, which is new. Apparently, if you didn't know this, Florida can be Central Time too, because I had no idea until about a week before we moved here. My mom sent me a screenshot of the time in Crestview, Florida, and she was like, hey, so you're going to be on Central Time. You know what? It honestly works best for me because First Form HQ is in Central Time, so a lot of the calls that I have, group calls and coaching calls there, is now the same time as me, although I'm still getting used to it. Plus, a lot of the clients that I coach through fitness, nutrition, and mindset, a lot of people are Central Time, so kind of works best. So I'm a fan. I'm not going to lie, I'm a fan. But I'm still kind of adjusting to the fact that my family is all on Eastern Time. So I kind of have to be mindful when I'm messaging people late at night. But let's backtrack. It is June 23rd. On May 14th, Stone went on his leave. Stone's in the military, for those of you who don't know. So we always knew that North Carolina wasn't going to be our end goal. We knew that for a couple of reasons. One, well, Stone's in the military, so we're going to be moving around quite often, kind of just depending upon his assignments. And he was finishing up a school over in Fort Bragg, so we knew that he would be stationed somewhere else, so we knew that we would be there long term. Plus, we didn't want to live in an apartment. We really didn't want to buy a home in North Carolina because we didn't feel that North Carolina was home, and we didn't want to make that investment there. So we learned that we'd be moving to Crestview, Florida. That is where he is stationed now. And he was going to sign into his base on June 10th. So in the military, when you're being stationed somewhere else, you have a point of time, you have a little bit of like leave where they give you that leave basically to pack up your life and move it down to where you're going to be settling. So we had from May 14th to June 10th to get everything that we needed to get moved down to Florida, visit all of our family because it was a couple months after our engagement. So it was like, oh, you got to visit your family. Stone still at that point in time had not met the majority of my family up in New York. He had met my mom because she came down and visited us a few times, but he never met my cousins, my aunts, my uncles, all the great people in my life. And he never went to my hometown where I really wanted to show him around and show him my old stomping grounds, but more than anything, the man has never been to New York, meaning the man has never had New York bagels or New York pizza, and he's a food guy. So I had to take care of that, and I had to show him how it really is in New York. So we took that time. On May 14th, we actually drove to Maryland, where we spent a weekend with some of our closest friends, Carly and Adam. I love those people. Carly's actually my maid of honor, and Adam is one of Stone's groomsmen in our wedding, which is on December 15th. If you get a golden ticket to that, then congratulations, because it is not going to be a lot of people. But weddings are expensive. The fuck is up with that? That's another conversation, though. Anyway, so that weekend we spent in Maryland. We went to a Jordan Davis concert. We went to another country concert. And we just had a really good time just living in the moment. And the interesting part about that weekend is I am not somebody who goes out. I don't go to concerts. I don't go out. I am somebody who really enjoys just sitting on the couch and watching a movie and just spending the time in. So that was a little bit outside of my comfort zone. But, and this is kind of going to all tie together. It comes down to experiencing different things in life to be able to say, like, I did that. I experienced that, and adding it to your belt, because I feel like with every different experience in our life, we learn different lessons, or we learn different things about ourselves and who we are. I know that I don't like to do stuff like that, but I had a great time when I finally kind of let loose and just had fun. And that's kind of what this podcast is all about. It's about living your life, and not just living your life, but living in the present moment. And the reason I want to talk about this is because after that weekend in Maryland, we drove up on that Sunday. We drove to New York. It was about a 3-hour drive. And the whole time, I remember I was so excited, not just to get to New York and see the people who I haven't seen in a while, my grandma, my aunts, my cousins, my brother, but also just to be back in my hometown and to show Stone where I'm from and show him the beach, show him the city, show him how delicious the food is in New York and what great food is like. And I was so excited. That 3-hour car ride, I just remember being like, I was sleep deprived, I had coffee, but that's it. And I'm a hangry person. So I was hungry the whole time, but I was just too excited to even focus on it. But unfortunately, that excitement died down a little bit. And the reason it did is because, and I'll be honest, I'll be straightforward, because I always am. I got my own damn way. And my mind likes to do that. And I'm sure your mind likes to do that sometimes too. It's human nature. We like to overthink things. We like to overcomplicate things. And we really, really don't like to live in the present moment. And what I know now, and the lessons that week in New York taught me, was that, I was thrown out of my routine. I was out of my comfort zone, emotionally, mentally, physically. I didn't have my garage gym. We were working out in the driveway. We were still working out, though. Just going to put it out there. You can always get it done. Things weren't ideal. Conditions weren't ideal. Life was a little bit hectic. And I told myself that week was going to be devoted to spending time with Stone, spending time with family, building beautiful memories, and having all of these incredible experiences, so that when I go to my home in Florida, go to our home in Florida and set up this new life, I can have all of these great memories and experiences to look back on, to motivate me, to push even harder because of how much I appreciate the life that I have. And unfortunately, I was too anxious. I was so anxious and too emotionally driven that I didn't enjoy myself. I did, but I didn't, because I knew that I was just too worried about the things that I couldn't control. And, what I want you guys to take away from this is that these moments, they pass by so quickly. Like, even talking about this, that was a month ago. It doesn't feel like it was, because time flies by so fast. And time is something that we can't get back. You spend money, you make money. But you can't spend time and make time. You just spend it. And I think that a lot of people forget about that. We forget that this moment right now, This is the only time, this is the only shot we have at this moment. And I was worrying so much about the things that I can't control, about being out of my routine, about not being able to eat the foods that I wanted to eat, about not being able to work out in the most ideal conditions. I was too worried about these stupid things that I couldn't control instead of just living my fucking life. And, I'm OCD, and I don't like to lean on that as a crutch, but it made the anxiety so much worse just being out of my routine. And to me, saying it out loud right now, it's stupid and it's silly. Because I had this incredible opportunity to create these beautiful memories. And a lot of these memories that I can recall from that week is just me being anxious, me being on edge, me not being able to actually relax and live my damn life. Because we can worry all day long until we're blue in the face about all these things that we literally have no control over. But at some point, you just have to take a step back and you gotta live your life. We worry so much that we forget that life is meant to be lived and memories are meant to be created. So after that week in New York, I took a step back and I was disappointed upon how I showed up because I wasn't me. I was anxious. I was slightly depressed. I was not myself. And that's on me because I always get to control who I show up as in any situation. And so do you. When you go through hectic times, when you're out of your routine, where you go through stressful moments, moving is stressful. Changing a job, which is something else that I did during this time. I'm now working with Hidden Summit, which is my coach's business. So I'm a nutrition coach with Hidden Summit now, which is amazing. And it's such an incredible opportunity. And I'll get into that in another episode about, being able to visualize your dreams and manifest them and how hard work really does pay off. But, I had a ton of different life changes going on. Planning a wedding, doing all these things. I was stressed. And I was so stressed to the point that I couldn't even enjoy the moment that I was living in. And there's a saying that I heard, and I can't remember who said it. I'm really bad at that, but I'm sorry. Where your feet are, your head must also be. And I feel like that's so powerful. And it makes you think, holy shit. My feet are here, but my mind is 10 minutes in front of me thinking about the thing that I have to do next. Instead of actually living in the moment that I'm in and appreciating life for everything that it is. So after that week in New York, we made our way back to North Carolina and we spent 2 days packing up the apartment, and then we traveled down to Florida and we moved into our new home. We were in our new home for about 48 hours before we drove to Texas to visit Stone's sister. And we spent a couple days with her, and then we drove to another part of Texas to spend the week with Stone's mom and dad at his house. So the routine, it still wasn't the same, and I was transitioning into this new job. We had a challenge starting, so I was on phone calls all day with new clients, which lights my soul on fire, so that definitely helped. But at the end of the night, I would always find myself just anxious and on edge. And just, you ever feel like your mind is just going in a million different directions and you can't actually center yourself? That's exactly how I felt. And again, I was better when I was in Texas, anxiety-wise, but I still wasn't showing up as the person that I know that I am. And then we came back to Florida. His parents and his sister came back with us for a couple days, so still wasn't really in our home together. They left, and his friend came, and we still weren't really in our home together. And then I flew to St. Louis for First Form's Summer Smash, which is the most incredible thing. I can't even explain to you how much fun and it's such an amazing place. First Form headquarters, the community, the family, the mission, everything about that company is unbelievable. and the quality of their products and the quality of their customer service and the quality of the people and the support in the community. I can't even explain to you, unless you've experienced it yourself, how incredible this weekend is. And again, I was so drained mentally and so on edge and anxious and out of my routine still that I showed up at Summer Smash like one of my good friends, Kyle, explained, as he's an employee over there at HQ. You looked like you were on the edge of a panic attack the entire time you were there. And that's literally how I felt. He put it right there. Right there. That's exactly how I felt. And I wasted an opportunity. I wasted an entire weekend that I could have lived in that moment because I was fucking anxious about nothing. About things that I couldn't control. And what I want to teach you here, guys, is that I look back on these, 3 trips that I took to Texas, to New York, to St. Louis, and I'll never get those trips back. Will I go there again? Absolutely. I'll be back in New York. I'll be back in Texas. I'll be back in St. Louis. Or I hope. Because life isn't promised. Today is promised. Tomorrow is not. And I wasted those times. So I want you to take this story and I want you to apply it to your life. You gotta be present in the moment, in now. Like I said earlier, we worry so much that we forget that life is meant to be lived and memories are meant to be created. And we rush around so much and we beat ourselves up. But at the end of the day, you just have to appreciate life and appreciate what you have been through so far. Because when you can appreciate being alive and you can appreciate every day being an opportunity, then you have a better chance at making the most out of your life and living it to the fullest because you appreciate how freaking amazing it is. Every single day that you wake up is amazing. Not everybody gets that opportunity, but you do. And it's your obligation, and it's my obligation as a human to live the most full, most beautiful, and create the most beautiful life that we possibly can. And you may look around, you might not see people doing the same. You see people wasting their life away because they're worried about things that they can't control, or they're focused on the past, or they can't let go of things. And I want you to break free, and I want you to lead by example. Because we always decide who we want to be and who we want to show up as during those tough times, during those stressful moments, during those hectic times. You're always in control of your attitude, your effort, and your actions. You are always in control on how you show up. You might not be able to control all of the circumstances and situations around you. It's impossible. You cannot control everything, but you can control you, and you can control how you act and your attitude and your perspective. You control if you're going to be emotional, or you control to react rationally. So I want you to take this message and I want you to live your life today and appreciate the hell out of today. Take one day where you literally just focus yourself into every moment, into every conversation that you're in. When you're talking to the clerk at the grocery store, I want you to be in that conversation. I don't want you to be thinking about what you got to do later or what you're going to make for dinner. I want you to focus on that person who's taking the time out of their life to help you. When you're talking with your significant other later on the couch after work, get off your fucking phone and be in the moment with them. Be present. They'll appreciate it, and you'll appreciate it. But guys, that's all that I got for you today. I'm excited to be back. I'm excited to put out more content for you guys. I got a lot on my head that I want to talk about over the next couple days, over the next couple weeks, that I find is going to be more valuable for you guys than anything. And it all comes down to stories and lessons that I learned within my life that I want to share with you guys. And it's just really me talking. So I appreciate every single person who takes the time out of their life to listen to me, to just hear my words, because yeah, it just means a lot to me. So if you got any value from this podcast, if you learned anything at all, if you just like me or whatever, if you don't like me, I don't care. If you appreciate this podcast, please share it. If you found value in it, please share it with one person, at least one person, because I want to be able to impact as many people as possible, spread the mission, and create a better world one person at a time. So, guys, go out today and do one thing that's going to take you one step closer to where you want to be.